Bet you didn't know those facts. These 13 facts will just blow your mind. Enjoy watching, and let's get started. Let's go! The flag of the Philippines is unique and has an interesting feature. It consists of a white triangle with an image of the sun and stars, along with two horizontal stripes, blue and red. It is the only flag in the world that changes the arrangement of its colors depending on the situation. In times of peace, the top stripe of the flag is blue and the bottom is red. However, when the country is at war, the colors switch places. The top stripe becomes red and the bottom stripe becomes blue. This symbolism vividly demonstrates the country's readiness for defense and its peacefulness during ordinary times. In the 15th century BC, the Egyptians made an astonishing discovery. They invented the first water clocks. This ancient mechanism appeared quite simple, but was highly effective. Imagine a large pot filled with water. At the bottom of the pot was a small hole through which the water slowly and evenly flowed out. As the water level in the pot decreased, it allowed for the tracking of time. This ingenious method enabled the Egyptians to measure time with remarkable accuracy for their era, marking an important step in the development of science and technology. Here's a fun fact. If you type the command =rand 299 in Microsoft Word and press enter, within a few seconds, you'll see hundreds of pages filled with the same phrase. This is a well-known Easter egg built into the word processor. This command generates random text that the developers used for testing fonts and styles. Instead of the usual lorem ipsum, Microsoft chose to use this cute phrase, familiar to many from old typing textbooks. Try it yourself, and you'll be amazed at how quickly your document fills up with hundreds of pages of this appetizing recommendation. Diamond, long recognized as the hardest natural material, was considered the pinnacle of natural strength. However, in 2005, a scientific marvel occurred. Natalia Dubrovinskaya and her colleagues at the University of Heidelberg created a substance that turned out to be 11% harder than diamond. This new material was named Hyperdiamond. This incredible breakthrough demonstrated that human technology could surpass even the most astonishing creations of nature. Hyperdiamond not only opened new horizons in science, but also promises revolutionary changes in various fields, from industry to medicine. In the 18th century, dentistry was far from modern technology, and dental treatment methods often seemed quite unusual. Imagine a visit to the dentist of that time. Instead of the familiar materials for filling teeth, they used rubber. Yes, rubber was the primary material used to fill cavities in teeth. Although this seems strange today, at that time, it was an advanced method for addressing dental problems. This practice was an important step in the development of dentistry, paving the way for modern, more effective, and durable materials. It may seem surprising, but the loudest creature in the ocean is the shrimp. These tiny creatures produce such a loud noise that a swarm of shrimp can drown out even the sound of a jet taking off. This phenomenon is due to the fact that shrimp create powerful sound waves by snapping their claws. This sound, known as a cavitation bubble, is used by shrimp to stun their prey and communicate with each other. Despite their small size, shrimp are capable of creating an underwater racket that surpasses many of the sounds we are familiar with. Many believe that cats always land on their feet, but this isn't entirely true. An interesting fact is that the lower the height of a cat's fall, the higher the risk of injuries and fatalities. At low heights, a cat simply doesn't have enough time to turn and prepare for landing. However, the higher the fall, the greater the chances of the cat surviving. From a significant height, a cat has enough time to flip over, spread its legs, and slow its descent, which allows it to reduce the impact force upon hitting the ground. This remarkable ability makes cats some of the most agile and resilient animals, capable of surviving in the most extreme conditions. Chickens possess a fascinating characteristic. Their left eardrum is thinner than their right one. Because of this, they tend to listen more with their left ear. This anatomical feature allows chickens to better distinguish sounds coming from different directions, which is especially important for their safety and spatial orientation. For instance, if a chicken hears a suspicious noise, it is more likely to turn its left ear towards the sound to more accurately pinpoint its source. This small but significant difference plays a crucial role in the daily lives of these birds, helping them survive and avoid dangers. Apple seeds contain a substance that makes them toxic cyanide. Although the amount in the seeds is very small, it is still enough to cause poisoning if consumed in large quantities. When the seeds are crushed and digested, they release this toxic compound, which can be hazardous to health. However, there is no need to panic. Eating a few seeds is unlikely to cause any harm. Nevertheless, it is best to avoid consuming them in large amounts to prevent the risk of poisoning. In 1949, to celebrate the 70th birthday of Joseph Stalin, an unusual marathon of gifts began. Soviet newspapers, like clockwork, published lists of these gifts with enviable regularity, and this continued until 1953. Among the multitude of offerings, one gift stood out, received from the workers of the aircraft workshops in the Polish city of Lodz. It was a telephone that was a true masterpiece of craftsmanship and symbolism. The device was shaped like a globe. The receiver was made in the form of a hammer, and the cradle for the receiver was shaped like a sickle. Such an unusual and symbolic gift, like many others, underscored the scale and influence of Stalin's personality during that era. There are no sounds in space. It's completely silent. We are used to seeing in movies how in space something is constantly happening, for example, exploding, and it happens with sound. But the sound itself is a vibration that is transmitted through the air. There is no air in space, so there are no sounds either. The expiration date on the drinking water bottle refers to the bottle, not the water. Drinking water itself has no expiration date, unlike the containers in which it is stored. When liquids are stored for long periods of time, plastic containers release chemicals that affect the flavor and safety of the product. This doesn't mean that the water immediately becomes poisonous, but it gradually loses its freshness and can become discolored. It is believed that water in glass bottles retains its flavor longer. Cats sweat through their paw pads and nose. Cats regulate their body temperature through sweat and breathing. By breathing frequently, the animal pushes hot air out, drawing in cool air, which is heated and also pushed out, allowing the body temperature to drop. In doing so, saliva evaporates from the tongue and the entire surface of the mouth and acts like sweat. Because the pads have a small surface area, evaporating sweat from them is not really important to cats. But on a really hot day, you may notice wet cat footprints on the floor. The song reflects the events that took place in the early 18th century. A mutiny broke out on the pirate ship Queen Anne's Revenge under the command of Captain Blackbeard. The captain quelled the mutiny, and 15 particularly active mutineers were landed on an uninhabited island called Dead Man's Chest, a small rock in the Virgin Islands group. Each of the pirates was given a bottle of rum. A month later, the ship passed the island again, and suddenly it became clear that the mutineers had survived. They were allowed to return to the ship, and in honor of their rescue, the other pirates composed a famous song. From the point of view of the Catholic Church, the capybara is a fish. The cute little animal in the picture is a capybara, a relative of the guinea pig. It originates from South America. They are friendly creatures kept all over the world as pets, and sometimes raised for their meat and skins. In the 16th century, the Catholic Church recognized the meat of these mammals as permissible for consumption during Lent. The logic was simple. Capybara lives in water, so it is close to fish, and fish can be eaten during Lent. Capybaras are especially often eaten in Venezuela.